On your feet, the celebration of the music of Gloria and Emilio Estefan and the Miami Sound Machine is at Wolverhampton's Grand Theatre from the 17th through to the 21st of March. It is an absolute treat to see on stage two of the people bringing this to full action. We have Rob and Ilya. Hello to you both.
Hello, how are you?
Hi. Good here. So let's start off by finding out a bit about each of you to begin with. Rob, I'll let you go first.
Yep, so my name is Robert Oliver. I originally am from Nantwich in Cheshire, but I've moved to London about 8-9 years ago now to work, and here we are today doing On Your Feet.
So you don't have to do as much dancing as everybody else, do you?
No, I'm quite lucky.
We'll come to that in a minute after we find out what Elia's up to. Hello, sir.
Hi. My name is Lilo Soro. I am Sicilian, born in Sicily, and moved to UK about 20 years ago, and been working and living since then.
Yeah, because your accent doesn't necessarily sound that Sicilian. So where did you come to in the UK? Where did you pick up?
Well, I've been living in London, and I trained here. So I guess, but yeah.
Yeah, so I was expecting a stronger accent, particularly because everybody pretty much in the show is using quite a strong regional accent.
I will use it. I will definitely use a Cuban accent in the show. So
but it's basically really confusing for me not knowing what to expect with the cast. So
we do put up a foreign accent, like Cuban accent, all of that. Well, not all of us, but he doesn't.
I don't.
He could be American.
But me playing Gloria's dad, I have to have like a Cuban accent together with Gloria Fajardo and Madeleine Alberto, who's Portuguese, and she puts an amazing Cuban accent.
Yeah, I mean, because the family started out in Cuba, and they were lucky that they managed to bring all the family over to the States, weren't they?
Miami. Yeah. The first, they Cubans, and then after the Cuban Revolution, when the Batista regime was in trouble because Fidel Castro was coming in, they had to leave and find a safer place where to live, and so that they had to move to have a safer life in Miami.
And obviously, her father had a massive influence on her throughout her career. And one of the things that we do touch on early in the production is time he spent in Vietnam and the tapes that were sent across there. And that's a really touching moment, sharing her music across the miles. And that must have been great to recreate that and get that little sentiment on stage to start off with.
We worked very close to Gloria, and she's been very specific what we needed to do on stage, and she talked to all of us, and especially to me, about her father, her family. We have some dramatic moment. In fact, the father, when he volunteered for the Vietnam War, then he got that called Agent Orange, which was what the American used to like. It was a pesticide, I think is the right word. The American used like bombarding to destroy forests, and those military people that were volunteered for the Vietnam War, inhaling that, they got like some brain damages. So, and Jose Fajardo got MS, and he died age of 47. So there is a bit of drama, and Gloria was very attached to the father, and there is a lot of emotional moments that we reflect all of that.
But what I particularly enjoyed about it was it gives you the emotion, but it doesn't play on the way in which certain members of the family did pass on. You discover through the story that her father's no longer with her, but they don't over-egg that. They tell it as a story because it's obviously a massive part of their lives when that change happened, but it didn't really step away from the narrative of telling the tale of the music as well. And I thought it was really good that the way they did that, and it sort of kept everybody alive on stage, even if they were no longer physically part of that story.
Exactly. Alex de Linares was the one who wrote the libretto, the book, and he wrote it in such a great way that obviously it's a celebration of Gloria's and Emilio Estefan live and songs as well. So it's a jukebox musical, and the way that Alex wrote the whole piece is very clever because you get like the story, but it's not massively like how do you say, like it's not the main focus, but you can you are led through the story, you know, to the story, and then till they get like to the stardoms, really.
Yeah, and it's through the tale of the music as much as their lives that actually brings all this together, with some fantastic dancing along the way. And I mean, it looks absolutely awesome on stage, doesn't it? The way it really fills out with all the colour, vibrancy, and of course the Latin beats. Yeah,
you know, it's an kind of universal music. I mean, I'm a big fan of Gloria Estefan, and I think that the music, it's so like, it talks a lot about like, you know, traditions, and it's so like worldwide known that everyone would relate to it, and then, you know, it's so uplifting, and it's so great within in a musical, because it's so like such a happy music that people will like respond so standing on their feet, really.
Yeah, and you see that as we go through, even though someone tries to put a spanner in the works, don't they, Rob?
Well, yes, my character that is introduced in the first half is Phil. Now, Phil is the manager of Gloria and Emilio before they make it big. So he is taking charge of them for when they are dominating the Latin markets. They're making all this money over in South America. And not to spoil put any spoilers out there, but Phil doesn't believe that they will be able to transfer over to the US market. And that is shown in one of the scenes that is in the show, which later becomes a splat in the face with a big fat egg on Phil, because it shows that they can cross over the pond, cross over into the border and make it in the US as well.
Yeah, absolutely 100% mainstream. And this, again, is part of the magic of the show, because I'm not sure whether you two guys are old enough to remember all this music when it was first coming out. I certainly am.
I do too.
Yeah. So,
although I look very young.
Yeah, naturally, yeah. But it is interesting to see that, even down to throwing cassettes around on stage. I mean, that's quite a nice little touching moment that means something to about 2/3 of the audience, but not the kids. So it's quite interesting. And the whole family are coming to see the show, aren't they? Because they're just loving the way they can get up and dance to the music.
Absolutely. I mean, half the crowd, like you say, are coming as fans of Gloria and Emilio, and they're coming to see it live. And I spoke to a lady last night after the show, in fact, who watched the show and completely forgot that Gloria had her injury. She had a situation which could have changed her whole life, and it did change her whole life. But people forget this.
Some of them didn't even know.
Yeah.
So they just know Gloria's songs and music.
That's
and
right.
when they get like that, she had such a troubles and
That's
in
right.
such a complicated life. They get very like emotionally attached, and you know that they relate to that as well.
That's right. But whereas, the other side of the children and the families coming to watch, I mean, the dancers in this show, I mean, they earn every penny that they deserve in this show.
Yeah.
And for anybody who's thriving to become a dancer, to become a performer at such a young age, this is probably the perfect show to come and watch, because you can just all ages get involved, and it's a real inspiration to watch what them guys do on stage.
Absolutely. And with the band on stage as well, looking great, sounding fantastic. And, of course, the way in which some of the songs work. Are all the songs actually tracks they released at the time, or has other things been written for the show in itself?
There is...
Should
I go for
it?
it?
Yeah.
All the songs are Gloria Estefan songs. The only one that's been written, for the show, is "If I Never Get to Tell You," which is the song that Gloria wrote with her daughter Emily, and because Emily wasn't born at that time, and she couldn't be part of the show because we only have Naib in the show, which is the first child. Then they wrote that together, and she put that song in the show, which is in the second act. It's a great moment, very emotional moment, and sung by Madalena Alberto, who plays Gloria Fajardo, my wife, and Emilio Estefan. It's such a great moment. I don't want to spoil. I don't want to give you any spoilers, but that's the only song that will be as an original written for the show.
The rest of it is all the music that you'll know and love. It's all fantastic. Get yourself along. Wolverhampton's Grand Theatre from the 17th through to the 21st of March. 01902 429212 is the box office number. grandtheatre.co.uk to get your tickets and come and literally get on your feet with a fantastic cast, so talented, and such amazing music as well. It is an absolute treat. Thank you both.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.